So today's lecture, we're going to do a little code along and a little project. And what we're building, we're going to be focusing a little bit more on the code on the front end. Obviously, the front end being the views with Razor syntax. And so what we're building here, again, focusing a little bit more on the front end, is a guitar shop. And you know, I'm going to be building something similar. So I'm going to build a bicycle shop, you know, for selling bikes. You can build whatever shop you want, but more or less a singular product is what we're looking at here. And when we go to the listing of the products, now notice this is on the root/product, so we're going to be doing a little bit with routing like we learned last chapter. And we've got this little filter on the side where we can filter our products by some sort of category. But you're going to notice we're not doing, this is just a listing. This is not doing update or add or delete. In order to do those functionality features, you're going to notice this link over here off to the side is under admin. And you're going to notice under admin, once we learn how to do permissions, we can lock this down to be behind a username and password. But we're going to get into an admin area. So this is an area of the site that would be locked down with permissions. And once we get here, we can go to manage our thing. And then, of course, once we can, as an admin, we can add new products. Again, in the admin area, we can add a new product, we can update a product, or we can delete a product. Okay, so some of the same operations that we've done before, but you are, again, going to notice our navbar is going to change. Whether we're here and we're in this admin area, we actually swap out navbars. So again, that's kind of doing some different things with the view and having different layouts. So different links are provided for admins versus your like regular users who are not authenticated. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. This is a code along. Should you choose to code along, I would encourage you to do so. You just have to pick a thing. It doesn't really matter. Oh, I guess one more thing that we haven't done is we're going to do images. And I know a couple of requests have come in to say, hey, how do you do images? And so we'll do some images on our products as well. So that's what we're building. And we will start off. You have to pick your thing, whatever you're going to build. Again, I would just build whatever I'm building, just it's a code along. It doesn't matter too much. Go ahead and boot up Visual Studio Community. And let's pick our template. So let's create a new project. And ASP.NET Core Web App. Same one we've been making, and I will call this bicycle shop. And call it how about my shop will be my project name. We are going to be bringing in authentication here pretty soon, but for now we'll leave that unchecked. .NET 8, all these defaults are good. Let's create. And the first thing we will do is create a model for a bicycle. And so in my models, I'm going to add a C# class called bicycle. And I'll bring in an ID. I'll bring in a brand. So a brand would be like Giant or Specialized. I'll bring in a model. So just like your cars, there are brands and then there are specific models. I'll bring in a year. I'll bring in a type, which is going to be a string. And your type will be like a mountain bike, a road bike, a hybrid, a tri-bike. How about a price, which I'll make a decimal. How about a color? And we'll do an image. For this, it'll be the image file name, which will be a string. And we'll go ahead and bring in some data annotations to mark these things as required. And so you have to add this using data annotations. With an error message. Or please. Wherever it may be, brand is required. Ooh. Zoom in a little bit. Model is required. Let's see. So let's figure this out. Let's just say the year 2000 to 2020. Year must be between 2000 and 2020. Pretty normal stuff. Price. Yeah, we could do a range as well. Bikes can be pretty doggone expensive. I've seen $15,000 bikes. I bet you they get north of $20,000. So, sure, let's say it can get pretty expensive. We could add. We're not going to require the image. That'll be an optional piece. But we should go ahead and require the color, sure. And we can customize these error messages it's pretty easy to come back and change these messages. So go ahead and get your model all set up. This is my model. all on one screen. One thing that I left off as I'm sitting here, I want to make a read-only property for a slug. A slug read-only property. And so what do we want in there? We can say, okay, replace the spaces to lower model. Here's what I'll do. Public string slug arrow $ quotes. I want brand model. This is pretty close. Brand model -year. To lower, replace spaces with hyphens. So in the slug, we got a brand, model, and a year. Yeah, Connor?
Why do you have $vote at the...
That is, that's how you, it's called string interpolation. We do the same thing in JavaScript with backticks. This is how you mix your strings with your variables. In C#. You've seen it before. You're just not remembering.
Well, I'm just wondering because of the other slugs don't use them.
There's many ways to code.
Okay, I
Yeah.
wanted to be sure I was
Yeah. You've seen this before. Okay. Now we need to generate the database and seed the data. So let's add our tools. NuGet Package Manager GUI. Browse for Microsoft Entity Framework tools. Entity Framework core tools. And install that. Okay. It is barking about me to want some nullable properties. So I can do that. Let's go in here and make these green squigglies nullable types. Even though strings are nullable by default, it just wants me to code that. I guess I'll go ahead and put it all, make them all nullable, except for the ID, which is my primary key. So make them all nullable, including my decimal. And I don't really need my string slug to be nullable, I don't believe. Okay, so make all those nullable. Tools, back into my Microsoft SQL Server. Okay, install those two dependencies. And if you close the window and go back in, under installed, we should have both of those green check marks. Let's go ahead and create our connection string to a database and name our database. So in Solution Explorer, we're going to go into App Settings JSON. After the allowed hosts, we're going to add a comma and connection strings is right. And we get to name our connection string. And so I'll call this Bike Shop CS. And I like to copy and paste my SQL Server name. And so I come into here under SQL Server Object Explorer and rename and copy my server name, my SQL server name, and paste. And I say database name. I'll call this my bike shop. Don't need that extra quote. Another semicolon. I know there's a way to find this copy and paste. I would copy and paste from a past lab. So even though I just hand type that, I'm just going to copy and paste myself because there's so many room for typos and it will break things. So I have created a connection string in my app settings JSON. And now in my program CS, I need to tell my program to use that connection string. So I'm going to say using my models folder, which is in Bicycle Shop, My Shop Models. My shop.models. Let's bring in Entity Framework Core. Thank you. Microsoft Entity Framework Core. Typos this morning. And then after line 7, we're going to add a database context. Now, the database context is a file. We need to create this file so that this is recognized. So in Solution Explorer, under Models, I'm going to add a class called shop context. And so now that we have that type, builder, add DB context, shop context, use SQL Server, builder configuration, get connection string, and really all we have to do is change out the name of our connection string here, which we named it Bike Shop CS, right there. Oh, we need to inherit from DB context. So our shop context needs to inherit from DB context to get that to resolve. And now our program CS should be good. So now let's go into our context file now that we've connected to the connection string, and we need to basically add our seed data here. And we're going to start with that constructor that basically does it's the same thing every time. We will start adding some options, I think, the more this class goes on. But for right now, this just takes in a variable in our constructor called options and then passes that up to the parent class DB context constructor. And we'll make one table called bicycle. Bicycles. So a singular table here. Protected override on model creating. And so here's our seed data, and I'm going to copy and paste like 10 bikes, and then I'll put it for you guys to copy and paste if you're following this one. Or you can hand type it out if you so choose. Okay, so a lot of these bicycles are, just dummy data, and maybe I may need to change some of the data, but for now we've got different brands: Brand, Giant, Trek, different models, different years, different file names for the images. And so I will throw this in Discord for anyone interested in following along. Doesn't really matter how many bicycles you have, just getting the ball up and running. $2,000 character limit. How dare you on Discord? Let's just do 5 bikes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At a time, followed by the next 5. All right, next up, now that we got our seed data, our database configured, and our model configured, let's see what breaks when we go to our console. Go ahead and create a migration. So add migration. Our initial migration. Okay, it wants me to seed the IDs. So let's go into my shop context and very simply add ID of 1. I'm sure there's a way to auto-generate IDs, but we can hard code them as well. Okay, give it some IDs. Now we try. Okay. Getting some warnings about validation, having such a large number, potentially with decimals. You could truncate some data, update database. and refresh our databases. We got our bike shop tables, bicycles. All right, let's go ahead and list all our bicycles on a page. So we're going to go ahead in our controllers and add a bicycle controller. Of which we will add a method to list. And, you know, if we want to provide a filter, as the example does, you know, maybe we want to filter by brand, maybe we want to filter by type, maybe we'll filter by brand, string brand. And by default, just leave it, I don't know, all brands or something. And return to the view. And so then we'll wire up a view. So under views, we need to make a bicycle folder, add folder, bicycle. And then a new view, add a view called list. If I were to boot this up, I should just hit my bicycle list by hitting that URL, and then we'll change the route to be something shorter. So nothing but the template bicycle list. We get to the bicycle list route. So bicycle controller. And we can change the route to bicycles. So our controller name, bicycles, and an optional filter for the brand. So by default it's bicycles all, but we could also pass in an optional brand to filter by brand. And so if I now go to slash bicycles, that also hits our list. But if I pass in giant, that would pass in giant as the brand to allow us to query our bicycles by brand. So now we got to wire up our context, do a little link, and get all of our bikes out of the database. So let's bring in our models. And we got to get in our context. So our constructor needs to take in a context. What do we call our context? What do we call our context? Shop context. So we need to make our shop context variable underscore context, initialize that variable on line 12. Okay, so now on our list, maybe we start by, list of bicycles. Okay, and if brand, it's a string. If it equals all, we hit our context bicycles to list. Otherwise, we filter our context where the bike brand equals the brand that's passed in, and then we return the bicycles list to the view. Okay, build succeeded. All right, let's go to our view. Make it strongly typed. App model is a list of bicycles. Now, list implements IEnumerable, so this should work. But you could also say list of bicycle. We know we're passing in a list of bicycle, so we could just strongly typed that. And now is where we make our table, and bootstrap row, div class of row, div class of call medium 2, and call medium 10. So in the call medium 2 portion, we need to, these are going to be our links for the filters, and the filters, we said we're going to filter by brand, right? And so I'm going to do a bootstrap list group. Get bootstrap. But we have Bootstrap on there. It's just not the latest version, right? But it is on there. I'm just looking for a Bootstrap list group. So something simple like this, a UL class of list group. And each LI is a list group item. Let's see how many brands we have. Back to our C data. One, two, three, four. Looks like 4 brands. And so I need 1, 2, 3, 4 of these. And anchor tags. Okay, now we could do the old school href, but we'll use the tag helpers. ASP controller. We don't need that on there twice. Bicycles, ASP action, list, ASP route brand, trek, bicycle controller, thank you. And so that's just my first link. I want to test that before I get too far. Now, I'm going to go into my shared layout, and I'm going to get rid of this privacy link, and this will be my bicycles link to my bicycle controller list action. So this is up in my nav bar. This will just be my list route with no filters. And so now I get bicycles, which takes me to /bicycles, and their bicycle list should take me to bicycles trek. So that's good. I can clearly make that look better, but I wanted to just get this going here, and that's what I got. I'm gonna close my layout, and let me look at my Bootstrap anchor tags. Whoa. What in the world? Okay. Mouse is stuck or something. What I'm looking for is a class of nav-link. If I just add the class of nav-link, that'll get that formatted a little differently. And now I should be able to list specialized is my next brand. The word specialized. Cannondale. And who's last? Giant. Anybody got a favorite brand bike? Anybody have a bike, one of these brands? Anybody ever ride a bike before? What's that?
Before, yes.
All right. Giant, not. Okay, so now let's test our. Test our links. Boot. Localhost, bicycles. Trek. Specialized, Cannondale, Giant. All right, now we can actually get some tables, Bootstrap table. Let's see. So this is in the other column. So we got one row, which is the table heading, brand, model, price, details. This is a start, but there's obviously more fields. And model.brand, well, this is a list. So this doesn't work. And so we'll just literally put the word brand there, model, price. This isn't going to work because, again, each item, yeah, that should, maybe that works. Maybe this works. And ASP route ID, item ID. So let's boot this up. Very skeptical this is going to work out of the box, but sometimes you get surprised. All right, it's ugly, but the details are there. We're pulling the data out of the database. Let's get some Bootstrap classes on the table, and we're going to make quite a few changes. Tables under content. What do we want? Table dark? Sure, table dark. Table hyphen dark. So back up on my table itself. Table, class of table, and table dark, excuse me. That's a little better. Maybe table info. Table info might be better than table dark, since nothing's quite so dark. Okay. And maybe we want some alternating colors. Table striped. Okay, and I'll hold it there, something like that. Let me zoom out for you guys. Actually, what do we need to see? We need to see probably this second call right there for a minute. Okay, and because we already coded it in the controller, we do get our little filter working by brand, so that's cool. I do notice this bicycles, once I put it on here, it has a hard time taking it off unless I go home. So probably on this link, we can add something like this. Bicycle shop, back into my layout. I want to say ASP route hyphen what do we call that? Brand equals all. So now we can force it back to all when we click that. I changed the link on the layout CSHTML to route brand of all. That's that route parameter. All right, now, you know, this is pretty good for the brand, the model, the price. Now the details has more information including the picture. So we need to create a details route. Obviously we don't have that, but this would be bicycle details 1, and we can change that endpoint to be something simpler. And so that'll be the next thing that we can work on, is getting a bicycle detail. So we need to hit the bike controller, public details, takes in an ID, returns an individual bicycle out of our context to the view, and sure, the bicycle by the ID. So instead of details /ID, it could just be bicycle 1, bicycle 2, bicycle 3. Yes, sir.
To make that more user-friendly, would it be better to do it by username as opposed to the ID?
You right, maybe put a slug on there or something. We could do that. All right, let's go ahead and make our details view. So under bicycle, let's add a view called details. It takes in a model of bicycle. You guys might be familiar with view bag is one way to set it, which is a dynamic property. There's also view data, which is a dictionary. So two ways of setting the title are either with view bag or with view data. We'll hit that in more detail later, but for now, let's go ahead and hit our bike details, and let's just see if we're getting to bicycle details 1. Let's see what's going on. Troubleshoot this. Okay, yeah, I changed my route to /bicycle/ID, so here in my link, okay, I just had a refresh and we're good. So close it down, reopen it up is what I had to do. Actually, I didn't even need to close it down. But now my links, it just need to be refreshed. And now take me /bicycle/1/2/3, and we're cooking. Now, obviously, we need to hit the database and send that bike in. I think we already did that. So let's go to the view, which is details. And we get to spit out all the details that we have in our database, not the ID. So these are the details that we're going to spit out. Just for my own sanity now, a comment in Razor syntax. I deleted it when I first Here we go. Star. Okay. So this is the data we're going to spit out in a, how about a card? Div class of row. That's fine. Kind of get it in the middle. So I'll have 3 columns. I'll put my card in the middle column. Let me hit Control A, Control KF to format it. And I'll put this in a bootstrap card. Because cards, you could put the image in the card. So let's find our image cap. My mouse is having a tough day. Images. So that'll be our bootstrap card in the middle column. And down here, you do the capital M on model. And put these in a list group. How about we put it in a list group? So inside of our card, we're just going to have a list group with our model information. Capital M on model dot brand at model dot model. Type price, we can format that. It's currency, color, and so there's our color. We'll say price as formatted as currency, to string currency. And if it's nullable, we'll say, hey, if there's a price, put it in. And the image source will be at model dot image file name. And now we actually get to save our images because we haven't actually saved any images. And so before we actually save the images, let's just see what breaks looking at an individual one. Okay, so I am pulling the data out. What is breaking is the image because I haven't done that yet. There's 3 dots there which belong to the alt tag. So once I fix the image file name, then we should be good on that. So images we're going to store in the www root folder. So here's www root. That's where our static files are going to go. And I'm going to add a folder called images. And this is going to be the folder that I'm saving my images into. If you want to right click and open folder in File Explorer, you can get the full path on your hard drive where you need to actually, I'm going to go to the internet and download images into this folder. Of course, the image size matters. So there's the path. And let me just kind of load up my first Google search, which is a Trek FX1 black. And then my image file name, I'm going to put in images slash. Now, a little too late, right? I already put the database. I already put this data in the database. So I need to append an images slash in front of it, and I can do that elsewhere. I don't have to do that here. But let me just kind of go to Google and do a Google search for this. I'm going to search for a Trek FX1 2022 hybrid black. And so, you know, that's all I need, this image right here. And where I save it on my hard drive is that folder that I just put. So I have that on my clipboard, so I'll paste that in there. Okay, and the file name is going to be what I seeded my data with right there. So back to the save prompt. I need to save that image, Trek FX1 black JPEG. I'm going to put quotes around it. That way it's not JPEG.jpg. It does it sometimes. You put quotes around it, it won't add on to. So there's that image in my images. And there's my bike. Again, file size, it's a small image. So hopefully all my images I can download are going to be kind of small. Okay, so all that just to say, I've downloaded my first image. And if I go back, let me close some windows here. If I go back, I still need to append the images directory. So if I go bicycles, it's close, but no cigar because I don't have the images. So if I look at my image source, it's not there. If I add images slash, slash bicycle. Okay, so it's not taking me back to the root. So notice I need to go back one more directory. Okay. So I still need to go back one directory, and then so I need to go to the root and then append images slash. So here's how I'm going to do this. On my bicycle controller, excuse me, on my right here, I get my bicycle here, so I can bicycle dot image file name equals tilde slash images. So that should take me to the root, then the images folder, then append the image file name. If there's a bicycle, so I can say if it's not null, if bicycle not equal to null and bicycle image file name is not null. If bicycle is not null and the image file name is not null. Okay, so I think that's going to get me where I need to go. And let's test bicycles details. Let's inspect. Nope, it's still, that actually didn't take me to the root, that just appended it. So let me think about this. Yeah, another way to go to root is just /. So there we go. So / images that. Try it one more time. And there it is.
What would you say the proper size should be? Like X by X?
What size image? Well, obviously my image is pretty low resolution, pretty low size. So taking a big image and making it smaller is a lot easier. Taking a small image and making it bigger, not so easy.
Even that takes up almost the entire screen, and I did not realize that on my site.
Yeah, yeah. So what you want to do is make the image the size of the parent, you know? So look at cards, look at your Bootstrap cards and see how to kind of format the image that way. Yeah.
Can you go back to what you just did? With the
Yeah, so I left the this piece right here. Yeah, I just had to change the image file name to that. All right, the next thing we can do here is get that slug at the end here, right? Just because just user friendliness in the URL. So we can do that by updating our links and updating our routes. So we're going to go close all files. And I'm going to open up Program CS. And we'll add in an optional slug on our default route. And then on our bicycle list view, so we'll go to Views, Bicycle List. Here's our link for the details. And ASP route slug equals at item dot slug. And I think we've put it in the places we need to get that working, but let's check it out. See if we're forgetting anything. Bicycles. There it goes. That's not right. What am I forgetting? Let me close, do a build. Let me see what I'm forgetting. Yep, I forgot to update my route. So bicycles, bicycles / ID / slug, optional slug. I forgot that piece. Let me close it down and start it back up. That should do it. Bicycles, details, there it goes. Awesome. A lot of coding, and I know it seems like a lot of you guys are playing catch up, so I'll pause and help you guys catch up. Okay, so we were gonna finish and flush this out. Of course, all of our bicycles would have images, and so obviously that, we're gonna save 30 minutes by not doing that. And so you know how to do it once, you could do it 10 times. No big deal. The next part that I'm going to cover is definitely something you guys want to pay attention to. So regardless of where you are, if you would kind of zone back in for me, because this is something that I think it's useful. I think it's pretty cool, which are these admin areas, and actually changing out your layout based on, if you're an administrator and you can get into this admin area, you can have like different links that you see and different nav bars, etc. So the first thing that you want to do is kind of take this layout, this is the shell of our page. And so, everything, the nav bar, if we're kind of looking up here, it's the full HTML document, including the head and the body. Inside of the body, we've got a header and a div and a footer. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take basically the body and I'm going to kind of create an outer shell and an inner shell. It's kind of weird, but I'm going to take the container and the header out of my layout. So literally I'm going to take all that and I'm going to cut it. Okay, and I'm just going to replace this with a render body method call. Now, what this is going to allow me to do is have one layout for your normal users, but they can have a different nav bar for admins. So inside of shared, I'm going to create another file, and you'll notice the convention is to start with an underscore. And so maybe I'm just going to call this user layout, something like this. So I'm going to add, and I don't think there's a layout. Let me see. Yeah, there is a Razor layout. There it is. Razor layout. I don't really think it makes a difference, but I'm going to call this user layout, which is my standard and I'm going to start. I don't need a head, I don't need a body, I don't really need any of this. What I need to do is say, okay, well, I have a parent layout, which is underscore layout. And that has a semicolon. Now I'm going to paste in my nav bar here and save that. And I'm going to check that rebuild. And then I need to set my layout for everybody inside of my view start. So right now everybody's layout is underscore layout. This needs to change to underscore user layout. So I didn't really do anything here other than, okay, well, I took out the nav bar and I took out the container. This says render body, and this has a parent of layout. So basically these two things come together. This render body, brings this in, and then this render body brings out the view, and then this should be user layout. Let's see what breaks. I think the functionality should all be just the same. Yeah, literally I didn't change any of my functionality, but now I have two layouts, which again, you've got this one layout that just has the nav bar in it and the main content. And then the other layout has kind of the shell of your HTML, as well as this render section async right? So this is new stuff in this chapter that we haven't done before, with these nested layouts. And again, you can think of this as the parent, and then this is the child, and then the actual view itself gets rendered here on line 28. And then this user layout gets hits for everybody. All right, now what that allows us to do is have a different, like an admin layout with a different nav bar that still uses underscore layout as its parent. Okay, so let's see how we can begin to do this. Now, last chapter, we started to see that you can have this admin area just by adding a folder called areas. So let's add a folder. And this is convention to call it areas. Underneath that, we're going to create an admin folder. Add a folder called admin. Now we're going to add controllers and views. So add a folder in here for controllers and add a folder for views. And inside of views, very similar to inside of our views down here, we're going to have an underscore view imports and an underscore view start. So let's add a new item and view imports underscore view imports. And these are just the same. We have this line and a using my shop dot models. Yes, sir.
Was that a razor layout or a razor view that you just made for the view inputs?
It was, the file was add a new item, razor view imports. All right, now we're going to go ahead and add a view start. So right click, add item, razor view start. Default convention name. And on this one, we're going to create an admin layout. So this is not created yet. So underscore admin layout goes here. And let's go ahead and add a subfolder here called shared, and underneath shared we'll add a layout, add a new item, razor layout. We call this admin layout. And delete that. At layout equals underscore layout. And I'm going to go into my user layout and copy all of this, and we're going to make changes to the nav bar. So literally it's going to be the same thing, but just for this, I'm going to do a nav bar dark, just so I can I'm just going to change the nav bar. Actually here, I want another indicator to me that shows me that this is the admin nav bar. And so I'll just change this link to say, welcome to the admin nav bar. Something like that. And we can actually work on these links once we get there. We actually got to get something going there. Okay, quite a bit going on here. So let's maybe close all. Does anyone need to see anything? Yes.
What did you add?
So really, the thing that we need to do is we need to make a controller in here that's our home controller, very similar to your home controller for your user, and see if that home controller in this admin area has the new nav bar. Right, so we're going to go ahead and add a home controller, add a controller here for our admin, call it home controller. It was already there. Add home controller with an index view. So inside of views, of course, we need a home subfolder. So inside of views, we're going to add a folder called home, of which we need an index CSHTML, index CHTML. Welcome to the admin home. Of course, then we need a link from our main area into the admin area. So that's going to be in our user layout. That's where our nav bar is. And another LI. Of course, we need to get this formatted off to the right. Nav item ASP area should be admin. Controller is home. Index is our method. I don't have a route brand. Now our link says admin area. And let's see what we're forgetting here. So let's boot it up. Okay, so now we need a route to handle that. And so inside of program CS, jumping all over, and I'll get you guys caught up here, we're going to add a route app map area controller route. Name of admin. Area name is admin. And the pattern is admin, controllers home, so on and so forth. Fix this. So multiple endpoints, controller home index. My shop areas admin controller home index. Let me clean that up. I forgot that the home controller needs to be decorated with an area of admin. Okay, wonderful. So now we get welcome to the admin home, and you'll also notice welcome to the admin navbar. So we are cooking. And so now we get to add update and delete functionality in this area. But let me catch everyone up. Okay, on this last nav item, I'm gonna try ML auto, margin left auto, see if that'll push my admin link off to the right. Let's see, maybe more is needed. Okay, yeah, so it used to be in the prior margin left and margin right. Now it's margin start MS auto and margin end auto. So to get that link off to the right, we do MS auto. Now we get our admin area way off to the right there. And then on my, okay, let me close that. Let's go back here. So we'll add another link on our admin navbar, MS auto, and this will take us back home. Well, let's, we don't even need this third one. We could just have the first link, right? Hey, Keith. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this first link. Notice I blank out the ASP area. And this will be home index. And this will say take me home. We'll say main site. And then here, this will be the admin bicycle list. So we need to make a bicycle list for our admins. Next. So to just test the routing here, let's close that. Okay, here's our admin area /admin, back to the main site. So we can list our bicycles, get individual bicycle details. Here, admin area. And here we need to make an admin list. And so, yeah, Connor said, hey, let's go ahead and set our title here. View bag title. Admin home. Okay. So we can close all these files now. And home controller. Let's list our products. So let's add a product controller. Add controller product, which is our bicycle, I should say.
That wasn't what I had meant.
What did you mean?
If you go back to the main site page, that home, there's that my shop. That goes away when we hit admin area. I think so.
Oh, that's just a navbar brand. So where did that link go? Is your question?
Yeah, because I'm seeing it here in the admin layout. Like we have it, it exists, but it doesn't show.
Views, shared, admin layout.
It's an A-class navbar brand, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. So in the admin layout, let's see what it sends. Admin area, inspect. It's literally there. The words my shop are there. Oh, we got a color of white. No idea why we got a color of white. It's just branding, so we'd have to change some CSS. It's there.
Set the navbar to dark. You did.
I set the navbar to dark.
Yeah, which defaults the.
Okay, so let's change that. Navbar, what was it before? Light?
Yeah, that has it.
There you go. Okay. So admin area. Okay, now we're gonna get the admin listing bicycles. So back to the bicycle controller. I almost wonder if we can copy paste bicycle controller. Let's grab our it's gonna be close to this. Let's copy that and paste it into controllers. Oop, rename it to bicycle controller. Rename bicycle controller by convention. Paste that in, and what we can add to the route is area / bicycles brand.
Your context.
We got to bring in the context. Bring in the context. I'm just going to hard code. It's the admin area. Admin area. So we got admin bicycle list, and then brand is all. And so we have to make our landing page, and we have to accept a brand into our route. And so actually, a couple things here. Here in our bicycle controller, we accepted a brand. Brand. Let's make a landing page. Let's inside of areas, inside of views, we need a bicycle view. Add a view called list. Okay. Admin area. So just like I did before, I marked the home controller as an area of admin. Now that was on that individual method. You can add this to the entire controller. So if I open up the bicycle controller inside of admin, what I'm missing here is an area of admin on this bicycle controller. Okay, now I don't know if that's going to fix all my problems, but that is something. Now that I do that, I think my area should resolve. Now area, the admin bicycles all, and we're hitting our endpoint. Welcome to the admin list. So this was what I was missing, this attribute on the bicycle controller. That fixes that. Now, okay, so we're hitting our list and brand equals all, so we're getting all the bicycles, sending it into the view. So now if I go views, bicycle list, welcome to the admin list, let's just spit out the bicycle details like we did before. And so what I want to do is in my views, bicycle list view, I'm going to steal this and make changes. So and this is the admin bicycle list. And this will be admin bicycle list. And see that it flushes out just the same. Admin bicycle list. And instead of details, we'll do an update route and a delete route. And we'll be done. You guys can see there's, you know, what I don't love about it is that there's some code duplication, obviously. But it is a neat feature to have an admin area. And so here, bicycle, we need to make a method to edit. And if we typically do, you know, add edit is what we did last time. So if I go bicycle, the view was add edit, add a view, add edit. Close all this down. So we're just working on bicycle, and we'll do so this is going to specifically send us to the add edit view. And a new bicycle is being sent in to add edit. And so on my list, this ASP action is now add. We don't need a route ID. We don't need a slug. And we'll say add new bike. Let's see how that breaks. Admin area, bicycles, add new bike, admin bicycle / add. Takes me to add edit. You can see the view is add edit. So we're hitting that right. And we can update the route when we need to. So now on add edit. All right. So back to our bicycle data. We need to allow for these forms, these fields. And so here's an add edit page. We could do, say, something like so this is our HTTP GET, and this is our HTTP POST. So when we go to post, we send in a bicycle. Of course, this model needs to be a bicycle. So it'll post this bicycle in. Get bootstrap. Little form labels. There we go, just one of these at a time. ASP4. course, we don't need to add new bike in a loop. That doesn't make sense. That would be an edit. But nonetheless, we are cooking. So let's go back to our list. Let's take this link out of our table. And this will be edit bike. And I'll make this add new bike at the bottom. Cool. And let's just do like call medium 4. Actually, what do we do here? I think we could put the row here. I think that might work, but we'll see how it plays nice with the no, not playing nice. That's okay. Take that off. Model. Cool. All right. Fill in the rest of these fields. Okay, for the sake of this, I'm just going to leave the image, adding an image off for now. And now we need a submit button. Okay, so when we click submit, takes us back to our controller, calls the add method, because that's what we wired this form up to. And there is no bicycle ID at this point. So we're doing this, this add operation. So we'll check the model state, and then now if bicycle ID is 0, we add, otherwise we do an update. And then we save changes and redirect to the list action above. Otherwise, if the model state's not valid, we need to have a validation control. Validation summary for all. Actually, I want to start this with debugging and put in a method on my post, a breakpoint on my post. Okay, admin area, bicycles, add bike. Obviously, we probably need drop-down lists and a few other things here. I don't know any model trucks. We'll just say the T1 2020 road bike, $100, black. So that should hit my breakpoint. And it did. My model state is valid. My bicycle ID is 0. And there we go. There's my Trek. Wait a minute, Trek T1. So now if I click this, we're getting somewhere, but we need to have that bicycle sent to the view. So let's see. So that was on a list. There's my edit bike. So here's on my get. Okay. So here's on my get, we're getting the add. Right now we're just automatically returning an empty bicycle. And so I need to take in on my add method, I need to take an ID for a route parameter. It's optional. And here, if the ID has a value, let's look it up and send that bicycle to the view. Otherwise, just return a new bicycle. So I'm going to ping that, and now in my controller, I need to send my ASP route ID over. Oh, it's item ID. At item.id. So send the ID into here, into my add method. So that is add, send the ID over. Let's breakpoint that. See if we click that edit button, we should get that ID into our method. Almost done, guys. Gals. Bicycles. Edit bike. We are getting one sent in. We should be able to look that up. It's not null. Send the bicycle to the view. And there we go. We send that to 451. Okay, my model state is not valid. It's not happy about my year. My year says it's invalid right here. So if I go back to my model, and make sure I got my year. Let's look at that one more time. Admin area, bicycles, edit 2022. Try to change the price. Oh, well there you go. My validation year must be between those. So that just goes back to my model bicycle. That goes back to the beginning. Save that. We should not need to reseed our database or anything like that. Bicycles. Edit bike. 451. Bike has been edited.
Like 150 cents.
What's the question here? 50 cents?
Okay. Sometimes I found out that you need to put in an extra bit of code to try to actually let it build the sense.
To critique my method name, obviously it could be a better method name because this is doing more than just adding. You could call it add edit or something different, but nonetheless it's working. Last but not least, we need to delete. And we could update our routes, but we'll go ahead and add in the delete public. So look, okay, so this is a need to write a this looks like a post, right? Okay, so we're gonna get, think this through. We're gonna get a delete page, and that'll just basically confirm. So we should be able to look that up and send that to the delete view. Otherwise, it sends us to list. So that's looking good. And so inside of areas, views, bicycle. Let's add view for delete. one thing the book points out is when you're declaring the model up top versus when you're using it in the page of the body, capital M, lowercase m, just a syntax difference. And let's do a form ASP Okay, store the ID in the hidden field to send it back to the post. Button danger, input type of submit. So that should get us to the delete page, which then allows us to do a post. We're getting conflicting signatures here. Call this delete bike. That's fine. And therefore our action is delete bike. Delete bike. Look it up. If it's not null, remove it, save changes, and redirect to list. Been a long one, but we are there. Bicycles. Troubleshoot this last problem. Okay, so we need to, on our list, include another this will be delete bike. Admin area bicycles. Delete my Trek T1. And it's gone. Obviously my table needs a heading, and I could maybe change some of my routing at this point, but nonetheless, I mean, the big thing was to kind of break out those different views, that admin layout and the like, and do this filtering, and that's kind of where we're going to stop it here. It's been a long one.